Right then, we should in fact be live, and I believe we are. Excellent connection as well. Let's see how long that shall last. And that's looking promising. Alright then. A very different time of day to when I normally stream, but let's see if this works out as well as I want it to. No, not entirely, Owen. I did put out a message to say that this is when I was streaming. This is more of a... this is a little bit of an experiment, really. Because it will either confirm my suspicions or it will open up a few more opportunities for me to plan my schedule with maybe a little bit more freedom. But we shall see about that. But yeah, it's going to be, I think everything is just about set up, but it's a little bit of a weird resolution on my second screen. What's going on there? That doesn't look quite right at all. Is that better? Yeah. Well, anyway. Yeah, I know, Owen. It's kind of one of those things where it is going to be interesting, I think, just to see who is actually watching at these times as well. But that's kind of one of the things that I was wondering about, to be honest. Because I think, to be fair, I think early evening GMT is not that bad for most people. I think the only people that would kind of be most negatively impacted by that would be people from Australia and New Zealand, that part of the world, where it probably would be not the best time of day to be streaming from their perspective. But it does open up, however, the possibility for people from west of the Atlantic, maybe a little bit more kinder for them. But also, the main thing that I'm really wondering about here is how well my network is actually going to respond to this, because this is much more like peak time for me. And that may have implications. Like if the stream quality drops, or if the stream quality drops out entirely, this is where I'll be looking to the chat for a little bit of feedback. But if there's no issues at all, then basically it means that it's possible for me to stream in the evening to a much greater extent than I thought it was going to be initially. But if it is negatively impacted by outside factors like that, then we shall have to probably just go back into the afternoon streams from my perspective anyway. But yes, indeed. We shall of course be carrying on with the Ar-Adunaim campaign today. It will be a slightly shorter stream as well because of its slightly experimental nature in terms of the time that it's actually taking place. But not by that much. Probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours, I would say, is going to be the time it takes place from. Well, the aims for today, a little bit less grand and sweeping, perhaps. The screen seems zoomed in. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I think that might be something that I need to take a look at in OBS, which I will do momentarily. Don't know what would have caused that. There's always something, isn't there? Yeah, that's not right at all. Okay, yeah, I see what the problem is. Nope, that's not right either. How does one... Oh wow, this is really annoying. Come on, OBS, don't do this to me. Okay. How does one... Okay, it's going to be a little bit awkward this, but there we go. Hello, Joseph. Nice to have you around. Okay, that should be much more like it now. I don't know why OBS elected to do that. It might be because of the fact that I don't have my webcam today. And actually, speaking of which, there will be a channel update which is coming out tomorrow. Which is part of the reason why I'm streaming now, because I will be busy for most of tomorrow, so a stream wouldn't have been possible. So there will be a channel update, however. Finally, I have the information that I need to actually give the information in that channel update that I wanted to. And in part of that channel update is talking about how I will be temporarily without my webcam. It's more of a footnote, to be honest with you, but the webcam has been loaned out for the time being. So, yeah. For the next couple of weeks or so, there won't be a webcam in the streams, but the intention is to bring it back as soon as I can, but I needed to loan it out to someone who needed it slightly more than I did. So, yes. But, regardless, let's have a little look at the situation as it stands at the moment for the King's Men. Pretty good, actually. I think following the fall of Dol Amroth, the complete fall of Dol Amroth, because now the only thing they really have are a bunch of renegades that are roaming around in our territory. They have been conquered, and Dol Amroth has been renamed for GIMILKHAD's eldest son, Lord Gimil-Zor. And speaking of which, I think Gimil-Zor is down here, is he not? He is. And basically the intention for today, for the most part, is to embark Gimil-Zor along with the portions of the army that are heading up here momentarily, full of a lot of the Haradrim that we have already trained down here in Kadar Farazindil, which is the town named for GIMILKHAD's wife. And we are going to drop them off over here. So this is Gondor's westernmost border. And I think it will probably behoove us to navally invade from here and start working our way up west to east and keeping a defensive shape over here. Because I think Gondor's days are numbered, to be honest with you. Mordor are closing in. And I, of course, am going to be nibbling away at them from this side as well. In an ideal world, we'll be able to get over here to Ethring and Tarnost and take them as well, because that would effectively be a very nice front line against Mordor. Tarnost especially is a really, really good fortress, because it's quite similar in many ways to Methras down here, where it's a fort that has ballista towers. A little bit more beefy perhaps than Linhir, but Linhir is now a large town, so that should be a little bit more easy to defend from this point onwards as well. I should certainly hope so, because Gimil Thon has been struggling mightily in his quests over here. But yeah, that is overall the plan for today. We will be navally invading from the west of Dol Amroth, west of Gondor rather, and building ourselves up essentially. Now, one thing that it is worth mentioning, in the off time I did take a little look over here to see if there are hobbit farmsteads over here in the town that's over here. I can't quite recall its name, but effectively there is not. There is not any hobbit resource tiles over here, which is a problem, because that was the main reason why I brought my merchant up here in the first place. The best tile, I think, is somewhere over here, which is an apiary, which is worth nearly 300 gold coins, which is not brilliant, but this merchant has been wasting so much of his time lately that I'm just going to put him up here and have done with it, to be honest with you. My second merchant that I think I have built at this point, or am building, I will send him over to this part of the map over here. I will also start moving with our... So we've got Enidwaith and Dunland still going hammer and tongs at one another. Dunland have taken Londadea as well. But I need to get another alliance over here. Whoever comes out on top in Ar-Adunaim, basically I want to be allied to, because I don't want to be continuing that way really. I do want to ultimately turn around and face the menace that is Mordor at some stage. Right, we've already moved you. That's a lot of chevrons on that Balu Khazgar. It is worth saying as well that I did actually take a little look at the relative stats of the ships, and yes, the Dol Guldurak is the second best ship in the game. The only one that is better than it is the Palaran, which is the heavy High Elven ship, of course. And to be fair, the total defense actually is relatively similar. The High Elven ship has only got a slightly higher value for that, but the attack of the High Elven heavy ship is much higher. It's like 22, I think, which is a significant amount more. So that is obviously a very big jump I think over here though, right, do we have, one thing that I've forgotten is if we have a general on the way up here, which I do not believe we do. So I think we've got one in there, none in there actually, but we don't need one there. Okay, so this gentleman here, Anagamite, which is quite the name, we're going to start sending him over here so we can put him into Kadar Gimilzor, and then GIMILKHAD can go to Athalon, because to be honest that army without GIMILKHAD is probably not the best, all things considered. So just take a little look to see if we are building things absolutely everywhere we can. That's the downside to having like a whole week's break between parts, is that I need to sort of refresh myself on what I'm actually doing. But hopefully if these evening streams actually do work out as I intend them to, maybe that won't need to be the case for too much longer, because we could potentially do some evening streams as well, which would be nice. Yeah, this is the town where we don't really need to build anything else, to be honest, because there's nothing really worthwhile to build. In a town, however, there probably is. And I think with all of the public order buildings we already have, can we repair? Oh, we do need to repair, yes. Then we shall repair. And we definitely need to build stuff in towns such as this. I think it will probably behoove us, to be honest, to go for a shipwright, because that will net us much more in terms of money. And I think that's all we can really do, because we can't build much of anything in these settlements here. Maybe Methrast is closer to getting some of our more substantial units, because Methrast we want to turn into a recruitment hub, because it is a fortress after all. Everywhere else we want to just be more economy based. So yeah, I think Rohan are under attack from Mordor now as well, which is slightly concerning, because honestly we actually want to be friends with Rohan. I would say it would be really nice to be friends with Rohan anyway. That's kind of on them, because they could declare war on me when I border them, because I've really eaten so much of Gondor that they may not take kindly to my presence, but hopefully they're able to look past that. Yeah, there's more Gondorian ships. To be honest though, the Gondorians, it's really just they're like dead men walking at this point. When you see Mordor stacks this far west, I really don't think that they're in too much of a position to put up too much more resistance. If they really should just focus on Mordor though. Narratively, I think this makes a lot more sense as well, because it means that Mordor are conquering them, and in their hour of need, the conscripted units that we have can be like the Gondorians effectively submitting to GIMILKHAD's rule, which I think makes a good amount of sense. Tarnos there. Lynn here is maybe a little bit... Well, I think with a large town though we should be fine. Lynn here has been like this campaign's version of Rockburg from the Lothlorien campaign, where it's the town that sees a whole lot of different things. The High Chieftain of the Orcs is dead. Which High Chieftain is that though? Another... yeah, sure. Construction report, right, we've got a whole bunch of stuff that has been built. So we'll start off in Gobel Merlond and have a little look. Another shipwright would be nice. I mean, hopefully if we can keep... Well, I mean, this isn't too bad either. Public order bonus, which to be fair in a place like this is probably quite necessary, because... Hello Calvin, nice to have you around. Yeah, hopefully if these evening streams work out, they can be factored into the possibility of them happening in the future. So yeah, it looks like this gentleman is going to come over here and maybe have a look at taking Lynn here. He probably shouldn't, because that is a stack which, while a lot of these units are depleted, I would not feel too worried about dealing with a half stack like this, not even half a stack there. So I don't think you should do that. You are here, and actually we've got some more units there as well, which we should probably begin to send over this way as well. You can go there. The only problem is, like, this army here technically is fully in the way. So we might have to sort of sally out and deal with them at some stage. Right then. We're going to crush them with ease. And what's this? A single aerosol. Yeah, these naval battles at this point. Their boats are like really undermanned. This is better, doesn't interfere with work. You're from South Africa, aren't you? So yes, that would be accurate for you. I think it would be better for a lot of people, to be fair, but it's just been... I mean, this might not be regular depending upon how the network responds to it, because I'm still not entirely sure how well it will. Right, okay, so we shall go over here to the docks. We shall... Right, so how much do we actually have in this stack? Fair amount. Right, we don't need the Azra Zaire, so you can really disembark, can't you? Or can you not? Do you not feel like disembarking? No? Well, regardless, what we will do, so 3, that's 4, so essentially we have room for 6 more units, potentially from here. So you can embark, so can all of you actually. So we only have room for 1 more with that. Yeah, so that's perfect. And that will be good. I think I'm an hour ahead of you there. Yeah, I think that's about right. We actually did do time zones as part of one of our lectures at university at one point, because it is actually relevant to what you do with regards to like positioning and such. And I think that sounds about right, yes. It's not that much anyway, despite their distance, the distance between the two, the east to west distance between South Africa and the UK is pretty much completely negligible. Right, that is a big old Harad army. Big old Harad army with some pretty good stuff in it as well. Right, I think we will move you this way, because this army over here is actually not that amazing. But we can easily rectify this with some thoughtful recruitment as we go. Right, what is this? We've got a lot of ships, which, to be fair, this navy over here actually can be a little bit of a trailblazer for us. Any ships that arrive over here can be easily dealt with. And you can go over here. The problem with having all of the... I'd like to combine a lot of these navies, but because so many of them are made up of admirals, you can't, which is kind of awkward. But no matter. We will also be sort of transitioning fully away from a lot of these Azra Zaire units at this point, now that we have actually managed to establish ourselves. What is going on here? Wow, we've got a ton of generals over here. What are we doing with ourselves? Identical twins? Right, well, we don't have anyone in... Well, Khaldun still isn't that happy. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, we don't need generals over here, so we're just going to have like 4 generals in Kadar Farazindil, because if we do that, then they're small units, but they'll be able to do the business against the Haradrim. Okay. We'll organise everyone next turn and start moving off with our fleet. I don't think there's anything else to be done. Is there? No, there is. Ooh. See, a conscription camp isn't really all that necessary here, but it does give us money. I think probably what we need to do is anything that allows us to, well, we'll go for the food. I think it's already a maximum growth level, to be honest, but no matter. An armory will be useful there, because that's likely to be the front line. Hello, Val. Oh, the camera, yes. Well, if you've just arrived, there is going to be a channel update tomorrow that mentions this, but the camera's been loaned out to a family member that needs it a little bit more than me at the moment. It will be back, but temporarily it is MIA. Probably for the next couple of weeks or so. Right, we'll save it there. Ah, yes, actually, one thing we do need to do before... I keep forgetting about these guys. Right, we'll go over here. That's Bree, I think. So Bree is still pretty far. That's actually Enedwaith land at the start, isn't it? So Bree must be expanding. Right. And you, I think where we want to go is about there. There's the goblins. So the goblins are still doing reasonably well, apparently. They aren't besieging Imladris with any sort of frequency, but I guess you can't really expect miracles of the gobos. Daylight savings. Yeah, daylight savings is a needless complication in many ways, isn't it? Hello, Jasdeep. Good to see you. Yes, a slow and steady progress is what I'm looking for now. We're probably going to end up with like a longer campaign in a similar way to Lothlorien, but less because of the constant struggles and more because when we have to sort of take our time in dealing with the Gondorians. I think a lot of it is down to the culture that the Ar-Adunaim have. Because it's completely unique, you have to spend a little bit more time setting yourselves up. Thorin's Halls is assaulted. Ah, right. I think this is because Ar-Adunaim went the evil path, didn't they? So I think that would probably be the High Elves attacking them, which bodes very ill for the Dwarves of Ar-Adunaim, because at this point... Ooh, Gondor weakened. These are dark times indeed for the free peoples, and a sign of strength for the Shadow, as the forces of darkness are bold enough and strong enough to encroach upon the Gondorian heartland. The River Anduin sweeps away the masses of Gondorian dead. Their blood turns the river a deep red. The Pelennor is shaken and cracked. All about the green fields of Gondor lie the shafts of arrows and the bolts of Ballistae. If the tide of battle does not change in Gondor's favour, the glorious kingdom may be lost forever, and if Gondor falls, who will stand against the darkness in the east? So yes, Gondor is collapsing. That is a doom stack, if I'm not mistaken. What is going on here? Yeah, this is the AI being big brains, as they normally are, I guess. Right, I guess you go back here. Yeah, I mean, you would think, considering the fact that in terms of actual Gondorian territories I have conquered, the number stands very solidly at 0, because Linhir is a Dol Amroth hold at the start of the game, and yet they're still just throwing their armies at me rather than at Mordor. But what are you going to do, right? It's the logic of Total War AI. I've learned to just accept that fact that it just needs to be. It's just the way it's going to be. Right. Yeah, well, there is still room actually for one Azra Zaire. So you're going to start heading up this way, because we definitely need you to do the business. Right, they're actually moving away, which is nice. It means we can put GIMILKHAD in there, and you can go in here. Governing wise, you leave a little bit more to be desired. Right, Linhir. Building a market. Depends on what this army here does. I mean, they really shouldn't be coming down here. Like, it's a horrid idea from their perspective, but Mordor might do us a solid, to be fair. They might come in here with their stack of boys here, and I don't think they can actually get that way though, because they've got to go through the town, but no matter. Right, what is that? Well, you probably should. You will when Mordor are ruling your lands, and the alternative is the way I like to do things. Right, so you go over here. We'll deal with this. Navally, we are utterly supreme against the Gondorians at this point. Wow, that's something, Calvin. Congratulations. A momentous day. Right, what's going on here? What's going on up here? Okay, I think we'll probably land around here. We'll put our boats there to block any passage from further west. I don't think there's anything, to be honest. Yeah, just an Enedwaith port. So really, we could probably get away actually with moving our boat to here. A big day. That's just trash. Trash units. As far as the eye can see. Blackroot Vale's decent. Like, this is the part of the game where we should be starting to see more solid units emerge. So can't be too caught off guard by that. Right, Baradhan. Still building something there. Still building something there. Lynn here. Got a market on the way. Still got that one fort in the middle of Harad lands, which is rather amusing. It would probably behoove us to get a couple of Rosadan units in here. And yeah, dockyard. I think we should be able to build the Haven soon, actually. The unique port level that the High Elves and the Ar-Adunaim gets. Right, so we're in Bree lands now, which is pretty neat. Should probably try and get an alliance with them as well. And that's that. Yeah, I'm sure it's been a busy day for you. Oh yeah, I forgot to move all those generals. Yeah, I know that their like heaviest, like their most elite swordsman comes from Minas Ithil, which the AI version of Gondor is extremely unlikely to get hold of. Not for any length of time, anyway. And Athelian as well. Like, they might hold that in the early game, but that'll be way before stuff like the barracks event kicks in. Yeah, there's still, it all rests a little bit on a knife edge. Ah, hello there. Mostly rational. Thorin's Halls has been plundered, so the High Elves, presumably it's the High Elves anyway, took that very quickly. Goes to show the difference in quality, like, especially at this point in the game. Like, you're going to be starting to see the High Elves get access to some truly nasty stuff. Yeah, that'll be sufficient to hold back Harad stacks, I think. So Gondor actually did back off in the end, which is shows remarkable foresight for them. Foresight and restraint. What do we got here? The Mouth of Sauron. He's out here. Fountain Guard and Wardens of the White Tower come from Minas Tirith only. Yeah, basic Gondor infantry in this. It's not like Reforged, where they're very much run-of-the-mill. In this, they are very much a force to be reckoned with. I would still prefer the Nadu Tariq because they're equivalent units, but the Nadu Tariq are AP, which I think will be a little more useful in this particular situation. Right, let's just... Ooh, that's... Okay, clear victory. Right, get you over there. Can you still move that far? Alas, no. But you probably need to stay here, because at this point we actually don't have that much in terms of ships. But I'm loath to build more, because we're coming to the part of the game now where, to be honest with you, our chances of actually needing a huge navy is substantially lower. Lond Galen. That is quite the garrison you've got there, Nerthor, but fortunately for me, you're not the one that I'm interested in. That, however, an easy target to sink. The main concern, of course, will be that Mordor is the one that will benefit most from me going over here, because this is sort of Gondor's quote-unquote safe regions at the moment. So if I start eating away at them, they probably will fall apart much more quickly on the front, because they just won't have the ability to withstand too much more. Right, over here. Militia Armory. Public order bonus. Do you really need that? I don't know. Again, this is a Gondorian territory, so we'll get much the same sort of thing here, but it's a town. We don't really need that. no more than we need other stuff. That's a public order bonus as well. Thing is, if I put you in there, it takes away our garrison, which is a little bit awkward. Right, well, we got you. This is going to be a recruitment hub, so we definitely want Ar-Adunaim Nadubawib and an armourer. Okay, let's get you, and we cannot recruit anything else just yet. We could recruit a black ship, but there's no real point for that. Hello, Sunlights. Did Thorin's halls really fall to the High Elves? The Dwarves of Ar-Adunaim get a lot of good units that can fight on par with most of the High Elven units. Well, I mean, with that in mind, Val, I would assume it's got... I mean, Ar-Adunaim took the evil path. We can have a look at this at the end of the stream, I guess, to see what really happened, but Ar-Adunaim took the evil path, so I would assume that the High Elves weren't too thrilled with that. And by that logic, I mean, I doubt it's Angmar, because Angmar's units at the high end are okay, but they're not going to be able to hold a candle to Ar-Adunaim's. So I assume it can only be the elves. Right, meanwhile, what have we got over here? Yes, you. There is something. What's that? 30 gold coins per turn? I don't think so. This is a goblin town. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So we'll be able to... So we're gaining some coins. I mean, 270 isn't amazing. The Hobbit resources give you like 900 per turn, but there's nothing else up there that's really worth as much. How would one donate? Well, you can go for a super chat if you want, or you can go to the Patreon link that should be in the description. But it's by no means an expectancy of the people that watch. It's definitely appreciated, but yeah. What's going on here? Right. Again, like a lot of this is Azra Zaire, which is fine for the moment, because I don't think they're going to attack over here. They've got their hands full with Mordor stacks abound. Okay, well, for now, what we're going to do is move them... Right, this is the most awkward movement thing that we have. There we go. Okay, so they can come in as reinforcements. Actually, you know what? It would probably be way better to do. Have the cavalry come in as reinforcements, because they need to go outside the settlement anyway. And... yeah. Oh, Khaldun actually finished construction of something, which we should probably... It's not really worth building anything else here, to be honest, because we're not really going to be constructing too much of anything down there. Oh yeah, we have a merchant in Umbar as well, don't we? I'm shocking at keeping track of my agents in Medieval 2. I can already tell that by the end of this campaign, whether it ends in success or failure for us, the world map is going to look quite weird. Because of Ar-Adunaim's choice to turn evil. I don't know what on earth is going on in Eriador, to be honest with you. Bree seems to have expanded quite far south based on the green borders. See you, Val. Yeah, 2 AM is a bit extreme. They are still trying to blockade me. Western Moria cleared. Okay, so yes, this is Khazad-dûm's victory over Moria, which is interesting. So Khazad-dûm are doing quite well. Haven't heard anything of Erebor. Right, what's going on here? Are there any Brelanders for me to talk to over here? Apparently not. A vast wilderness that it is. Right, we still... apparently... oh yes. This is our merchant. So you need to start heading... just in this sort of vague direction over here. Construction reports. Athalond and Baradhan. So Baradhan we can build... we could build a conscription camp, but it's not really worth our time to do that. We'll go with the Dark Shrine. Spread more of that Numenorian culture. Right. Okay. This is a full army that includes 2 ballistae. No actual archers, but I don't think that's going to be necessary. There's an awful lot of pikes as well, which is kind of a weird army, this one. But it's a full stack in an area where Gondor almost certainly won't be expecting shenanigans to take place. So let's blockade them. See ya, Jasty. Technically, Ar-Adunaim turns neutral, not evil. That's true, Kobe, but isn't part of the script that, depending upon who is like alive at the time, one of either the High Elves, Bree, or the Northern Dunedain automatically invade them at some stage? I think that's how it works, isn't it? And that being the case, it does kind of... It basically is the worst of both worlds. It means that you've made all of your old friends angry, but like it's not as if you gain the automatic help of someone like Angmar. So it's a bit weird. It's a strange situation to be sure. Right, roads would probably not go amiss here. Nor would communal farming though. That is a cheap building. Ooh, Ar-Adunaim, Nadu Tariq. Yes, we do want to continue to recruit stuff here as well if we are able. Recruitment is being auto-managed, which is not what we want at all, because we no longer have our man in here. Right, what else do we have? I mean, I'm not too... like, I probably would have decided to build these anyway. We'll go for a unit of Azrazair Marines as well. Lin here. Yeah, we'll go for growth, because this place can still grow a bit. And... Axemen. Is that worth it? I think it probably is, to be honest, because they're not brilliant, but they do still offer the armor piercing that we want. Right, this is the place where we're building an armorer. We can start building Rosadan here as well, which is really nice, honestly. Really nice. What's this? 1 ship. Okay, well, I guess... these are 2 black ships, so they should... yeah, easy. Black ships, very, very much a useful facet of my army. Right, so you're waiting. You should have already moved, shouldn't you? Yes. Alright then. Again, it's all about sort of slowly getting into place at this point. Part of the issue is just making sure my culture spreads here so that when I am facing Mordor, I'm able to pump out my actually useful units enough to the point where I can actually face them. Quantity has a quality all of its own. That's true, but I'm not going to be able to out-quantity Mordor. The Azrazair have quite a lot in common, at least the lower-end ones with the lower-end orcs, but it's not going to be the sort of thing which is going to be sustainable. It's been rather messy throughout this campaign so far, if we're being honest, but... And the point behind this stream, actually, is not to make a ton of progress anyway. It's just to have, like, a few turns, just see if evening streams are going to be worthwhile in the future. Which, at the moment, it's looking, to be honest, like there's no negative effects. At least no substantial negative effects. Touch wood. Fortunately, my desk is made of wood. That's a little bit concerning. If Harad decide to backstab me, it could get quite messy, to be honest. They shouldn't, though. What would be perfect is if, when ultimately we come to blows with Mordor, if Harad decide to join me. Alkfud retaken. So Enedwaith have retaken their capital, which is good, actually, because we're trading with them. Construction report, Tolfalas, Kadar Farazon, and Kadar Gimilzor. Right, so we have built the maximum level of... there it is, the Black Haven. That's the best level of... I think you can only build this building in Umbar or Mithlond, if I'm not mistaken, which is really cool. Unique building for us. I don't know how much use that's actually going to be though, because by this point in the campaign, navally, unless we go to war with the High Elves, I suppose, in that case I think it does become useful, but we'll see what happens with that, because that is still a choice which could potentially be made. It all rather depends on how the campaign map is looking by the time we actually have to make that choice. Yeah, sure, we'll go with that. And I think Tolfalas was the other one, wasn't it? Yes, it was. Right, we don't really need to build public order stuff. Ah, hello there. My friend. 7 losses. Right. Anulond. Armory for order, conscription for training, no culture required. Hi amigo. Hello Sard. Must be quite late for you. Hopefully I'm not keeping you up too long. Okay, we'll siege them out for a turn. Although actually, to be honest, can we assault this down now? And what's the auto-resolve like? Oh, dominant. Dominant is the answer. Easy. We haven't actually played a battle yet, which is kind of disappointing, but it's also not terribly surprising. There we go. What's going on here? They actually do have a garrison there, of sorts. Right, Anulond. First things first, let's build something. Yeah, we'll go for that because it's so cheap. Only takes a turn to build, and we need to start getting our culture up and running pretty quickly. So yeah, there is Enid Wythe. Would be nice actually to get a bit of an alliance going on with Enid Wythe, but I don't know, because they have been struggling, but I don't know whether it's against Dunland or against Bree. Possibly both. Right, is there anyone over here? Aha, Breeland. Their power apparently is supreme, which is interesting. The absolute monsters that are Bree. How about I make you happy with this? An alliance, you say? They would actually take that, but I'm not sure how good that would actually be, because if they're at war with Enid Wythe and I ally with Bree, that could turn out to be pretty bad. And they are enemies with Enid Wythe, so we'll just trade for now. Trade with the supremely powerful Breeland, apparently. Good for them. Right, well, if we go much further west, we're going to start to bump into bloody High Elves, so we'll start sending you up that way. This is a big old region. One very untrustworthy diplomat and one very trustworthy diplomat. Right then, here we could blockade them, which we may as well do, to be honest. A fine day to sail indeed. Right, we were getting blockaded as well, weren't we, by presumably a ship crewed by like 5 people. But well, that's actually not terrible. Right, we're getting to the point now where we might want to start thinking about retraining these boys actually. Yes, we should definitely retrain you, and actually we will build a few more units as well, I think, because it will be useful when it comes time to make landfall with some reinforcements. Go for a unit of Rosadan bowmen, I think. Right, Mordor are over here, but Gondor are putting up a fight. I want Gondor to put up a fight. I want them to stay alive over here in this region of Gondor for as long as possible. Unfortunately, the more territories I take away from them, the less likely that actually is. What's the time there? The time there is just past 8 o'clock. How did you get the very untrustworthy status? Am I untrustworthy? But how? I've got no idea. practically dauntless. I don't know how I got the untrustworthy status. That's very strange. Yes, I should repair Anilond. You are quite correct. Oof boy, that is a lot of damage done. It might... I don't know, because the thing is, I had ceasefires with Harad and Gondor in early stages of the campaign. The thing is, they are the ones who attacked me. I don't know whether the game... Because I know that Total War is rather infamous for that, where sometimes the AI can be the one who betrays you, but you still get lumbered with like the negative consequences of that. This may be another example of that, to be honest, because I've not stabbed anyone in the back yet, which is interesting because that is actually what you're supposed to do with the Ar-Adunaim. Right, we've got a lot of generals in here now. Should we construct more? We have insufficient funds, so we cannot construct more even if we wanted to. Right, so there is another town up here, I believe, as well as Londea, which is actually the Gondorian capital at this point. Goes to show how far they've fallen. Northern Dunedain haven't done much in this campaign according to the notes, other than get sporadically sieged by Angmar. I think the Dunedain really are the sort of campaign where the player has to be playing them to really see them thrive. Hey you mad, I'm 130 turns in and took most of South Gondor, doing well, and then Harad sent like 6 stacks via the south and got me good, and I was allied with them, so expect the hits. Yeah, I can see them like building stuff. I am continuing to create things down there, because I guess the good thing about having their capital and the fact that my territory effectively sticks out so far into their land is that I know exactly where they're going to attack first if they do try to stab me in the back. The clan leader of the Blue Mountains, wow, Ered Luin are getting rolled. That's very quick for them. Right, construction reports. That is a lot of things. Right, so we've actually built something here as well. Can we build... We already have a barracks of True Sons. It would probably behoove us to... What is this? Ar-Adunaim. That would be nice, I don't deny it. So would an armory though. I think an armory we'll go for, because that will give us access to a garrison, and it means we won't have to stock quite so many men here. Right, you keep just moving up here for the time being. Right, Mordor are here in numbers. What are you doing? We shall kill them. Good. Right. We have a few useful units. We should think about... We've got a lot of stuff here that doesn't necessarily need to be here anymore, because this isn't going to be the front line any longer. So we will start to transition all of our most important units into this fort over here, so that when the time comes we can march on Ethring and Tarnost with more than just the one army. Still can't retrain our Ar-Adunaim, so we're going to basically be running them into the ground, but it really cannot be helped. And we should also, I think, probably build that. Well, actually, no, it's Methrast where we need that more than anything. Can we recruit good stuff yet? Nope. God, this culture thing. Killing me. Let's just go for full ships over there. Right then. Question is, how much do we want to leave behind over here? So we've got an armory up and running already in this place. What can we recruit? Nothing is the answer. We can upgrade this place to a city already, but I don't really know what that... I mean, it's useful, of course it is, but What we want really is happiness, so that we can move Gimilzor out without effectively hobbling ourselves. So I think what we'll go for is that, because it's cheap. And maybe we go for that here as well, because it's cheap. Lin here. Still can't really build anything of note here, which is a bit of a shame, but right, anyway. We do need to embark you lot onto this boat and get you onto the mainland. They can't quite make it. Bigger city means less squalor, I think. Well, yeah, I mean, a bigger city is always going to be better for us, but it's just a question of like costs and like what's actually worthwhile for the moment. And we do need to be a little bit careful, because we are sort of pushing the limit of what our coffers can handle. I mean, this is going to be a hard place to take with 4 generals. We've got pikes in there as well. I mean, it's not the best units, but it is a city, and because of how big of a city it is, I would assume ballista towers are involved. Okay. And that will be that. Right, let's see what they do. I mean, it is really just a case of slow and sure, slow and steady wins the race. The fact that, you know, we can't even build Azra Zaire units without the culture. A charming image, your enemy's friend. Gondor, like, this was never my initial plan, though, was not to go after Dol Amroth and Gondor first. It was to go along the south, eating Harad and Khand, and then going in via, like, the Nirn side of Mordor and attacking Mordor from that direction, which would have, of course, meant... Ooh, Fornos has been rebuilt, so the Northern Dunedain maybe are doing something useful, which would have, of course, meant we would have probably have to fight late-game Gondor, which probably would have been harder than late-game Mordor, but... I mean, Dol Amroth effectively made the decision for me when they decided to declare war on me unprovoked, which, you know, truly a genius move from the AI, as per usual. Right, you go in there for the moment, and then we shall deal with you next time. Easy enough. Which one of these is... Ooh, you're depleted. So you can go back in there. You can go in there. Where are they getting all of these navies from? What is this? And El Carondas is probably something that will require a little bit more leverage. That should be sufficient. Just make sure they can't do anything foolish. The best part of the campaign so far was definitely catching that Dol Amroth, like really good Dol Amroth army out in open water and dealing with them. That was very, very satisfying indeed. Right, so we still can't... a spy is actually not a bad idea at this point. Right, Thalond has completed that, so we can do something. Conscription camp. Conscription camp might not be the worst idea at this point, because yeah, it doesn't require cultural stuff, and it gives us money. Yes, it decreases public order, but we're not actually going to be moving on from this place for a little while yet anyway, so why not, I say? Why not? Building that. Tolfalas. I guess this is probably worth it, actually, because we still do need to expand Tolfalas, so we're building that because, of course, eventually the invasion mechanic may rear its ugly head again, but Umbar by that point is going to be an impregnable fortress. Right, where are we? You there, my friend, need to... is that... you need to move out this way. Right, we need to... I don't really want to build more naval units though, that's the thing. Can we actually build something of use here? We can now, yes. We can build Rosadan units, which I will absolutely take. Okay. And this is really the important area. Yeah, so public fountains will be done next turn. Again, a lot of people are going to be much more efficient at playing this game than me, but I don't know. I always like playing to a theme, and min-maxing often shatters that illusion for me. I've never been that good at min-maxing anyway, to be fair. It's like in Shogun 2 is probably the best example for that, because there's so many interesting units that you can build in Shogun 2. If you're going to min-max, however, you won't see a lot of them, because you'll just build Yari Ashigaru, back them up with some Katana Samurai, and get some Yari Cavalry. And that's pretty much all you need to be successful, as well as like some archers. Depending on which faction you are will determine which type of archers you build, but I always liked going into the gunpowder units in base game Shogun 2, or into like the weird stuff like the warrior monks, even though they weren't necessarily the most efficient stuff. Then again, that's what made the Lothlorien campaign such a tricky proposition. Yeah, Mordor have got stacks over here now. Edoras is sieged as well. That could be Mordor, which is actually kind of worrying, because if Mordor have managed to get all the way to Edoras from this side of Rohan, that's a sign that Mordor are getting unbelievably huge. But I guess there's nothing really to be done about that. Right, well, I guess trade routes, that's a pretty expensive building indeed. I guess at this point we go for this. Right, we should have a spy here now. Yes, we do. What is occurring up here? Anfalas pikemen are being built is what's going on up there. What is this? What this is a collection of shipwrecks. Sacklethor is actually the navy we had at the start of the game, which is pretty neat. Right. Okay. I think what we need to do at this stage is actually think about moving. Ethring is the town, however I'm pretty sure that spawns a doom stack, which is not really what we want. Right, is there anything we can transition out of here that's absolute trash garbage? Yes, there is. So we've got 4 units in there. Funnily enough, we've got 4 of the Azra Zaire garbage. So you can go in there. Right, I think what we're going to do is maybe go along the... Well, this army's not brilliant either, that's the thing. And Athalon probably isn't going to like it if this man leaves. Ugh, public order. Right. Anulond, Kadar Gimilzor. Right, what can we build here to make you more palatable? This isn't going to make you more palatable, but it will be a nice money maker. Right. It's one of those Total War campaigns where I'm not very Total War campaigns are always easier when you have a set direction in which you can go. But I guess it's all part of the fun. What are you doing? And you're more than willing to try and siege that down if you really want to. I don't understand where they're getting more navies from at this stage. How can they be... I guess, do they still hold Pelagia? Surely not if Mordor stacks are coming down over here. That would be pretty remarkable. I guess I can go and have a look, actually. Oh, it is a Gondorian docks, apparently. That's a Mordor dock. I wouldn't want to set sail in an orc-made boat, if I'm being brutally honest. But any port in a storm. Right. Okay, we should, I think, retrain these vessels so that they are more seaworthy. Retrain the Dol Gulbalak, and you, we can't actually retrain anything there, but we could construct more units, which we're going to do because it's a bit of a necessity at this point, I would say. This is all about just sort of building up to the right moment to strike. Okay. The Ar-Adunaim are also quite far away from a lot of other factions in the game, which makes the spectrum of factions you actually interact with for most of your campaigns fairly limited, if you start down here anyway. It's part of the problem that Canned have. They have an exceedingly slow start because of where they are. That start is very important though, because if you pick the good option, especially by siding with the Blue Wizards, things get real for you as Canned extremely quickly. Ooh, yeah, Gondor in trouble, to say the least. In fact, I think what I'm going to do now is take Tarnost. It's risky, but I think it needs to happen, because otherwise Mordor are going to swallow up too much of this territory. Thorin's Halls has been reclaimed. Okay. Well, that's an interesting place for the One Ring to spawn at. You would assume... Imagine if the One Ring was recovered in the Grey Havens. Come on now. Be reasonable. Anyway, mission failed. Blockade Pelagia. Town ready to upgrade. Tal al-Jaf. We shall do that actually, because that will be useful. And pretty much all of the areas around the Anduin have got stuff that we can do as well. Okay. Yes, that's a very cheap upgrade to do as well. Right, you... I don't think there's anything else we can really make here that won't immediately tank public order. Right, anyway. Tarnost, which has a large host in it at the moment. Right, if we... This army's got some decent stuff in it. Decent enough, I think. Well, actually, we'll combine them. Okay, if we were to move you over here, you're not thrilled about it, but you're not exactly burning the town down as it stands. So we've got some archers, some conscripted archers, we've got javelins. What we really need, I think, is a little bit more melee oomph, which, to be fair, this army doesn't have a great deal of anyway, but we do have some militia swordsmen that we can utilise. And I think we will probably try to... Right, well, for a start, I think... Is it really worth getting rid of them, though? Probably not. Right, we're going to go this way. We'll see what Gondor do. Build armory for order. In which town? Athalon? Yeah, militia armory wouldn't be a terrible... Well, it's expensive. Barracks of True Sons, though. Then we could be constructing some Gondor infantry. Although I thought we'd be able to do that here by now, but apparently not. Actually, like, what is taking so long here? Ah, Gondor infantry, there we go. Seaward spearmen as well. Amrothian squires. Let's go for it. I want to construct as many opposing faction units as I can, regardless of, like, I mean, to be fair, the Amrothian squires will be very useful. That is, I mean, that will wipe out the public order penalty, so we will do that, because then we just need more recruitment in as many places as we can get. Lynn here needs to remain here, because if we abandon this, Gondor will immediately, like flies to honey, be drawn to it. We still can't build anything here. This... we should probably start to move, to be honest. Okay, let's... right, if I take you out, what's the reaction going to be? They're not thrilled about it, but they're not exact... yeah, I mean... Okay, let's go for... how much can we get away with taking out of this town before they decide, you know what, now is the moment we rebel. Right, well actually it doesn't matter too much because they're actually coming back with a force. Try and recapture. Okay, but we can actually get away with just leaving a small garrison behind, which is good for future reference, because then we can go up to this town over here and skirt the White Mountains, hopefully. Then we can actually start building stuff here as well. So much of our units are of middling quality. What are you? An Aersul. Should be able to kill that actually. Oh yeah, easily. I love how the AI thinks that they can like blockade you with like really, really battered examples of units. Right. You lot can start going up here. Hey there, Matt. I'm doing pretty well, thank you. Hopefully you are the same. What have we got here? What we've got here is the ability to build many things. Trollman warriors would be not the worst thing at all, but they are quite expensive, and we don't know if this area is even going to come under direct threat, so we will just build a couple of Rosadan halberds. We're going to sort of build this place up to at least have a full stack, even if that stack is a little bit reliant on units that I would not want to be. Can we actually retrain anything in here? Nothing that it would be worth. You, to be honest, are something I'm going to disband, because we're never going to be able to retrain you because you're so far from home. Imagine being the Southrons in this army, though. This is mostly an army of Haradrim. They've never been further away from their homeland, I would imagine. Okay, we'll see what they do at Tarnost. Hopefully they go that way. God, look at that! Look at that Mordor army, though. Gondor are done. They really are. They're so done, actually, that I feel. No, we won't move that cavalry out, because Gondor will go after it with their whole army, I'm sure. Hey Armin, nice to see you. But yeah, so far actually this has worked out. There hasn't been any complaints about poor quality outside of the weird thing that OBS did at the very start. So that would... what is this? Surely that... no, come on, Enid Wythe, why? Enid Wythe, please. We were brothers, me and you. Well, we traded. Ah, typical. Right, where are you going? Maybe instead of Tarnost I should be going for... what are you doing? Right, so I think we are now at war with something. Rioting in Kadar Gimil Zor, which is pretty wild. Okay, I guess the only thing for it is to build another barracks of True Sons. Right, and you can go back in there for now. Right, so we are, I think, at war now. Large town ready to upgrade. Lynn here is rather rapidly rattling through the upgrades now, which is good to see. We can turn it into a city, which we'll do, because that will give us a much more defensive position. Right. Yes. Yeah, that's really unfortunate, to be honest, but you know, I don't know why I expect anything less. You try to do something different with a naval invasion and the AI is like, you know what? No? We are going to... I don't know why we're very untrustworthy. And I don't know why our relations are very poor either. How about that? I don't understand where that's come from, to be honest, because I've not stabbed anyone in the back in this campaign. Well, I think then... the choice might be about to be made, actually, because I think the campaign, in the way that it's worked out, going after Mordor more and more is looking like a less viable option, to be honest, because the more we move, the more we try to establish ourselves, other factions are just piling on top of us. Mordor, however, are not, and as much as it's annoying, I did want to go after Sauron, but the game is making it so that that's not really going to be terribly possible. So I'm going to make another diplomat and see what Mordor think of an alliance, at least on a temporary basis, just to make sure they don't come after me. We shall see what happens there. Anyway. What's going on here? That is an empty fort, so we shall take it. I don't understand where that... Probably because your kind long conquered a lot in the past. I don't... Yeah, but I mean... To be fair, like in a lore sense, no one would trust the Black Númenóreans, I guess. Especially not the people from around this region, because historically wasn't like the shores of Middle-earth where Ar-Pharazôn kidnapped people and took them away to be burnt. So yeah, lore-wise, I guess it makes sense. But gameplay-wise, I don't understand why I'm seen as very untrustworthy, because the only times I've broken ceasefires is when the AI broke them upon me. So it's a little bit perplexing, to be honest with you, to say the least. Okay, well, we'll go back in here for now then. But we shall see. Kadar Gimel Zor, Kadar Farazindil. Right then. We can't build anything here because we have literally no cash. We are destitute. We have some decent stacks at this stage. To be fair as well, the campaigns can be a little bit warped when you go up against Mordor and Gondor early on, because they're by far and away the factions on the map that at the start of the game are capable of fielding huge forces. So it can be a little bit awkward if you're like an outsider to those two trying to impact them, and depending on how things go, it can make a big difference on how you approach that. We'll see how it goes, because I mean, by the time Gondor's fallen, we'll see what the state of play is then. Ideally, I do want Mordor to be like the final boss of the campaign, but if that proves to be impossible, then instead we shall turn our anger towards the High Elves, which in many ways are more difficult, but it's also a foe that we can fight and not be immediately like surrounded on all sides by very angry and vengeful men and orcs. Right, marriage celebrations. Right, this is all well and good, but where are you? Ah, yes. Wait, we still haven't... How are we... need to repair some buildings. Savages is what they are. Just burning things down. Right. You head this way.
Tomorrow's journey planned out.
And actually, with this, I think what we shall do, because there's no way, I think, can we
go after Tarnost first, so we're going to go this way. It's not the beefiest art. Look at this, look. Do you respect me? See, to me, that's because I've actually had good relations with Enid through most of the campaign. Again, it's another one of those quirks where I'm not entirely sure why the AI was like, you must die. Well, I'm not going to declare war on them now, your enemy's friend, because if I do that, then it's only a matter of time before we see the Palorans come after me, and that would be a problem. The only navy in the game that can beat me pound for pound. And that's not exactly what we want at this very moment. We do need to be careful about what we're actually building at this point. So this was going to be our primary recruitment hub, wasn't it? Numenorian armourer. Right, what can we actually build at this stage? Not much, but we will build that because that will help us a lot. Okay. And army-wise... Right, we can actually send some stuff up here now, I think. This bunch of... There we go. Yeah, that should be fine. And I don't think there's anything else we can actually do. When it comes to like the start of a campaign, I think I should be a little bit more fluid with my goals, because that has been... I guess the Lothlorien one, it did end in the way that I planned at the start. But with the Ar-Adunaim, it's a little bit... going to be a little bit different, I think. I would have liked Tarnost, because Tarnost is a brilliant defensive position if Mordor do decide that backstabbing is the way to go. The Ethring Doomstack does concern me, because I'm sure, very sure, that Gondor will decide that to go after me with it, regardless of whether it's myself or Mordor that actually spawns it. Well, that's interesting. That is a big force that Mordor have got headed toward Tarnost. Maybe Ethring is... Maybe it is the right thing to do. It is still a choke point of sorts. If we let Mordor take Tarnost and Ethring, it's a little bit more of a... What is this? Just a single general?
Yes.
Right. See, why is my relations with them poor? About an alliance. Give you map information. And... I don't want to give them military access. Except till we will attack. I'll make a single payment as well. How does 1,000 of the finest gold coins strike you? Okay. Enid Wythe really didn't read The Art of War. Apparently not. This, I fear, is not going to be sufficient for them to conquer us. Right. And now let's kill you. Yeah, you're finished, my friend. And we shall execute you as well, because you've displeased me greatly. Right. We'll go this way with you, and... Okay. And cavalry as well we want going this way. So that can be a nice little reinforcement army. And actually a decent sized reinforcement army indeed. So this is going to go to Ethring, which I think spawns a Doomstack. I think. We'll see. Priorities, peace, coming from an orc. Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show, Mordor's priority was peace all along. They were just misunderstood, that's all. Right, there we go. That should maybe make them hate me slightly less. We'll go for some roads. Right, what is this? Right, we're about to turn that into a city. Enid Wythe as well. Like, what is this? And they've got some ships. Not a terrible amount of ships. Right, with that in mind then, Thor the Great. Go this way with you. We shall build a grand navy under Thor. A couple of Balu Khazgar. Right, Mithras. We no longer have the coins to do anything. Right, well, Tarnost is going to be under siege at least a little bit, which does give us the opportunity to take Ethering. And then Gondor should be finished. That's not a terrible army there. Okay. Again, the AI charts the course. I simply thrash about on its waves. That is the thing with the Ar-Adunaim, you don't really have any natural friends. And the lack of culture, I mean, it does give you freedom at the start, but it's one of those interesting... I really want to know where I picked up that very untrustworthy thing from. I'm sure it's because of Gondor. Gondor attacking me, I think, imbued me with, like, you're a traitor. I mean, they're finished anyway, Gondor. Fornost has been assaulted. They just rebuilt it as well, the poor Northern Dunedain. Construction report. That is good. Right. What have we here? Tarnost is hanging out. What's that? What size army is that? Oh, it's dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. Right, let's go over here and siege it down. Maintain the siege. I guess we'll just maintain that siege as well. One turn is all it's... Yeah, they can make it. Will they come down here, I wonder? Yeah, they could. They could. And that concerns me greatly, actually, now that I see that. We'll see what they do. Again, it was a risky move to come over here, but... Gondor talking smack about you. I mean, what else is new? That's what they've spent pretty much the entirety of the campaign doing. I guess we could start sending GIMILKHAD over here. There's these 4 gentlemen as well. Could I send all of them here? Numenorian Foundry. Yeah, this could go pretty badly wrong. I'm not that bothered. Athalond is... I mean, that's not going to be enough to stop a Gondorian army, I don't think. It is entirely trash, garbage units. Oh yeah, Amrothian Squires. You move forwards. Milord. Yeah. What is this? Look at this. It's like an unorganized... Well, like an unorganized rabble. It is an unorganized rabble. It is Enid Wythe. Well... Right then. Oh, you're outside. Okay. Right then, what we're going to do,
Yes,
in a brave and controversial move, start going this way with GIMILKHAD. Right, what else have we got? We got you three are going to move this way. And we're going to park him in a Thalond. And I guess we'll go for an armory there, because we may end up needing it. I'm actually going to use you as a scout as well, just to see what's going on. An interesting turn of events, to say the least. Maybe the Great Coastal Empire is what we're going for after all. Yeah, probably. Your enemy's friend. The issue is I don't have the visibility on Gondor to see if they won't like swoop in and take their town back. What I'm hoping Gondor do is there's that undefended fort there. I'm hoping that they waste a bit of their effort in trying to take that back. I mean, the good thing about Enid Wyeth is, as much as they have like a decent amount of numbers here, like their units are not, they're not amazing. I would like to at least fight in one battle on the actual battle map before this stream ends, because we are sort of coming to the end of what I intended this stream to be. This rather experimental thing. The Dwarven King is dead, but which Dwarven King is it? Not Enid Wyeth, not Ar-Adunaim, I think, because I think that's a different message you get for him. Edoras is under siege. Lebanon is under siege. Man, Gondor really sucks for them. Tel al-Jaf. War declared between the Dwarves of Khazad-dûm and the Dunlendings. Right, what have we got here? Ironically, I haven't been investing in archers, but archers would actually be the way forward, I think, against the Dunlendings. Would it indeed? We'll see how much you feel about that when I we'll see how you feel about that when I execute your troops. Okay, so they didn't actually right, so how much have we actually got here? Can we combine anything? Is that something that can happen? Doesn't look like it. Okay. So we can afford to have 5 units in there. You can go there. There we go, that's more like it. That's a defensible Thalond. You get in there. It's a lot of trash we've got running around. I'm a little bit concerned about Lynn here as well, but we can actually start to build stuff that actually matters in Lynn here. So go for that, that and that, just to keep it on lockdown. Look at this. Humgrat, the sacker of Minas Tirith. Look at this face. This is the face that sacked Minas Tirith. Hey, they've got some Variag Lancers, that's pretty cool. Oh dear. Right. Well, this could be Doomstack time. This, I think, is going to be the battles that... Well, this, I think, is going to be the battles that we actually end up fighting. Right. So we have an armory, we have all sorts of things. Can we actually recruit anything yet? No. Right then. Conscription camp. To be fair, one thing that we could do, actually, if we do sort of go along the coast, as we take Enid Wyeth territories, I think we could probably recruit Enid Wyeth units. So I mean, that's something. I don't think they have the Ar-Adunaim colours in the way that the Dol Amroth and Gondorian units do, but yeah, we don't really need the Azrazair raiders. So let's go after this man. We shall fight on the battle map. We need to actually, well, all of our ranged power comes from the fact we've got 2 ballistae, because we don't have archers in this army, because I was expecting effectively to be able to work through the towns using our siege equipment and using the solidity of our pikes first and foremost. But Gimilkhad gets a chance to prove his prowess in battle again. Right, well, we are the attackers in this situation, technically speaking. This hill, I think, is probably the best bet because it gives us the best sort of full coverage of the map. We don't want that. Having so many pikes is a problem when it comes to dealing with Enid-Wyth's javelins, but it should also mean that in pure melee terms we beat the brakes off them, and the trollmen are going to be better than anything they have in melee, I think. We can also use... We'll have a little look at our army before we go into battle as well, because we've got some Gondorian infantry now as well, which is pretty cool in the Ar-Adunaim colours. They've got a little bit of cavalry, but nothing that we can't deal with, I don't think. And then this can be sort of our reserve force back here, used as and where needed. So it's nice to have a lot of pikes at our disposal. They may not be the finest pikes, but the Southrons will still do a job for us on the front line. Hello, Guav Caesar. Yes, Dol Amroth have perished at our hands. Trollmen warriors, a very familiar sight indeed, and still multiple HP powerhouses, so it's nice to see that some things never change. Ar-Adunaim armsmen, this is our general of course, Gimilkhad, who has been a stalwart throughout this campaign, and the units that I am interested in seeing, we've already seen the territorial guardsmen, but they've been made slightly beefier by the armour upgrade. But in particular back here, I really like these boys. Like, I think of all of the Ar-Adunaim units that have like a... Well, all of the conscripted units that get a palette swap, this is probably my favourite one. You just have the heraldry of the King's Men on them. And I think it really works. The colour scheme really does do some good things there. Right, okay. So, let's get you two in position there. You can go there. It is going to be quite interesting, I think, just to see what they do, to be honest. They do have some cavalry, but having no archers at all might actually be a bit of a pain in the arse, to be honest, but that was a choice I made. And ultimately it will, of course, mean that in melee, Enid-Wyth, the way I look at Enid-Wyth, like, it's similar to Rudauer, only Rudauer have got maybe a little bit more punch to them. Over in Reforged, Enid-Wyth are a little bit more... like a ghetto Rudauer. Orcs of the Misty Mountains campaign, please. Well, the thing about the Goblins of Moria in DAC is that they will be much better in version 5, because in version 5 they're getting a bunch of scripts where you get to unearth Balrogs. So I think I'll wait for version 5 before I do Moria, because that will make their campaign much better. Because Moria's roster is really underwhelming in DAC, but Balrogs, of course, change that substantially. Who would win? 2 units of Southron pikemen versus 1 unit of Swan Knights in DAC? Yeah, that's true, your enemy's friend. I was always intending to leave the Haradrim as a garrison force. It's just because I haven't used the Trollmen yet and I had them embarked that I was going to use them as an invasion force. And narratively, it's pretty cool that a bunch of the Haradrim are actually here. They were going to be like the garrison forces I was leaving along the coast. I think that the pikes would probably win that, Caesar. Like, the mounted Swan Knights are good, but like the pikes would still ultimately defeat them. Actually, that's a good point. What have we got going on here, over on this side of the field? Ah, the Ar-Adunaim Berserkers. I'm sure that's not their name in DAC, but there they are. And I think this is the River Elders unit, which is one of the higher tier units for Enid-Wyth. That's a good thing about playing as a faction like Enid-Wyth, is the fact that once you get to this stage, it's actually easy to make your higher tier units. Though you don't have anything quite so luxurious as, for example, the Ar-Pharazon's Faithful when it comes to our units. That's something that we definitely want to build. The Ar-Pharazon's Faithful, I think, are probably the Ar-Adunaim's best units. This is my first of your streams. Ah, good to see you, Liam. I'd assume that the timing wasn't brilliant for you for the other ones, which is part of the reason why I'm experimenting with these sort of, from my perspective anyway, evening streams.
Gondor militia. We are the elites. Quite so. Well said. Nadu Tariq. What is this? Okay, well, where are you going? As soon as I get in range of my ballista, I'll just pummel them, and if they still don't move forward, I'll just expend all the ammunition and then just move in. Not like we have much of a choice anyway, given the composition of our force. Wouldn't mind making some Enid Wyeth units, actually. It's almost like a preview for what's to come with potential campaigns of the future. Ar-Adunaim. Still not in range? You should be. We're very close to being in range anyway. Rosadan, get ready to follow them in. I know that Izzy is doing an Ar-Adunaim campaign at the moment as well, and he's I think he's going to run into more extreme versions of the problems that I've faced by taking Minas Tirith as his starting position. Like, well, a lot of his units can hide, unfortunately, for us. But the javelins are my main concern, actually, so I don't really mind too much about going after them first and foremost. Now, here we go. Hey MB, nice to see you. I guess we may as well grill them, actually. Well, yeah, let's go a little bit further forward. If we can coax them into an attack by putting our ballista a little bit further forwards, that'd be nice. Crispy. Yeah, now is like it's really ironic, really, in a sense, that we've been facing off against primarily factions in which our archers probably wouldn't be any good against. Are they moving backwards? I believe they are at that. Well, wasn't quite the reaction I was hoping for, but well, I think probably what we're going to have to do then is a general charge. I guess after we've peppered down that one unit with our ballistae. I'd like to do more, but we're doing good damage though. And these are javelins at the end of the day, which will be dangerous to us, and now they leave. Good. Oh, no, hold. That's not what we wanted to see. You go after them, you moot keepers. I think Windy did a campaign as Enid Wyeth actually as well. He's doing one as the Northern Dunedain now, I believe, which is kind of cool. Okay, they're actually coming in to attack. Looking like it. Okay. Okay, well, with that in mind then, let's get our boys forwards. And let's get ready to move around the flank with some of our Gondorian conscripts as well. The Rosadan can get ready to follow them in also. Trollmen, I don't think they're going to be able to match them with anything on the front line, to be honest.
And then of course there's the small matter of a Numenorian Warcry that we can unleash as well. Okay. I want to be a little bit careful here because we could get some friendly fire on our own troops, but hopefully it doesn't come to that. Right, we'll move you backwards just so you've got a better shot. Right, they're probably ranged cavalry, aren't they? As distasteful as it is to us, I'd imagine javelin cavalry is... yeah, they are javelin cav. They're going to go after my pikes, my poor Southron boys. What Enidwaith like? Never seen people play them. Windy played as them. I believe... I would imagine, like, think a sort of a variant of Rudau. Oh, hello. Okay. Think of a variant of Rudauer is the way I would probably describe them. Right. The Nara and Ira Royal Guard can just keep kiting them around. Right, considering you're already here, actually, what we'll do... Territorial Guardsmen, you can form up there. Gondor Infantry can do the same. So can the Rosadan Halberds, actually, but the... where are they? Yes, Rosadan Footmen can go in behind enemy lines. Enidwaith Hunters will be a good target. Yeah, this is what we wanted, really. Yeah, they're gonna get done in pretty hard. We're gonna take ranged fire, but nothing to be done about that. Javelins are pretty nasty. Get into melee with them. Hey, Owen. Yeah, the elite spear unit is taking casualties because they're up against horsemen, which is where I want them to be. Yeah, it's an organised line made up of primarily pikemen, and I would imagine we are going to be just fine. It should be just what the situation calls for. Yeah, they're getting absolutely destroyed. Panzer forces evenly matched, apparently. So, I mean, you know, the Enidwaith, I think the Minhiriath warriors are probably some of their stronger units, so it makes sense that maybe they're doing okay. But with Ar-Adunaim and the like, with the formation we have, you would imagine only good things can follow. It's not the best army composition, to be brutally honest. But then I wasn't expecting that Enidwaith would betray me quite so quickly. Right, Gondor Militia. You can actually pull through, I think. Yeah, there we go. It's all good. Yeah, the Trollmen are also going to do very well because they're multiple HP. And any AP that Enidwaith may have with their javelins is going to be no problem at all. And their skirmishers are not going to be the match for us in melee. So yeah, we're going to take losses, but with a full melee army, that's always going to be maybe shield wall into their backline. I don't know what I can shield wall into their backline with, to be brutally honest. Like, nothing that I don't really want to push through, because I'll just take unnecessary casualties doing that. Conservation of units is way more important in campaign. The things that I sort of think of quite negatively in multiplayer aren't really the same thing in campaign, because you do need to think about longevity and the like. I do like the Ar-Adunaim arms, man. Heavy units. Oh, hello. They've pulled through quite nicely. Elder Guildsmen, who are running somewhere. I guess shoot them. Rune would be a fun fact to play. Rune were one of the options that I did as one of the votable options anyway in the before this campaign started, but the Ar-Adunaim one. Yeah, we've got the Roman-esque Nadu Tariq and the Royal Guard, who are just going to rip Grey Flood Raiders apart. Although, Javelin boys, that's less ideal. I mean, I could shoot right along them potentially, which is exactly what's going to happen, I think. Come on, some good shots. There we go. You love to see it. Rosadan Halberds. They're not routing because their general's still alive. Do I have 3 units potentially? Yeah, I think we could probably get away with these boys getting off the front line at this point. Just so we can try and get around these units to break them. In just a straight up fight as well, these pikes are really useful, having so many of them. Yeah, that's perfect angle for our ballistae as well. I like the style of the Black Numenorians. I would say that I do prefer a lot of the, at least for the specifically Black Numenorian models, I prefer the Balaketh models for the Ar-Adunaim in Reforged, and I do prefer the Alcarondas Legion to the Ar-Adunaim Armsmen, but to be fair, that's like, they're both really, really good units, looking units. Like, this is very, very nice as well. And they use the same shield model as the other Ar-Adunaim units. Right, yeah, they're broken, so so they can just go ahead and do that. You charge in there. Took a few losses on one of our Trollmen units, but hopefully some of them get... they were up against Minhiriath Warriors, which is probably one of the better units to actually go up against them with. Credit the AI for that. There's their general. He's a rather... he stands out a little bit, doesn't he? He's about to perish. And there he goes. And that is almost certainly going to be that at this point, surely. They're routing, they're routing. So I guess they've got some locked morale stuff, probably. Oh, they're fighting to the death, that's why. No, there's no point in chasing them down. Yeah, we'll end the battle there. Organisation with pikes. Always satisfying to see work. I'm not sure if I want to execute them though, because it's possible that we could get a ceasefire with Enedwaith, even if those are only like temporary. Not long ago, Bree were going to accept an alliance with me. I wonder what happened there. Ransom. There we go. We've got this gentleman here. Right. I mean, the key here is just waiting until we have the ability to train units from this town, and then we can push along the coast. So, I mean, for now, we'll just go back into Anulond. Look at that army there, look. I mean, it's not that great, actually, when you look at it. There's a lot of territorial guards. I mean, yeah, there's artillery, but farmhand pikes, there's a few units of quality in there, but not much when you really look at it.
Yes.
Right then. Right, you're a merchant. So yeah, you were heading up this way. Still friends with Cand as well. Relations are so-so with everyone. Why is my reputation very untrustworthy? And Gondor's is immaculate. They're the ones that broke the ceasefire. Any mercs for hire? You can only hire mercs, I think, in enemy territory, which, I mean, to be fair, we could go out and try and do that from here, which probably wouldn't be the worst idea at this stage, because we can start to build some pretty decent units. Seaward Spearmen, and let's just go for a whole bunch of just solid spears on the front line, I think. Right. What we're going to do is we're going to move out with this whole army, actually. I reckon. Oh no, we've already moved. We only just moved them in. I keep forgetting that's the same turn. Right. We're just going to save it quickly. This will probably be the last action of this stream. It was always intended to be a slightly shorter one because of the nature of it. This is probably a ballista tower place, isn't it? So what we're going to do is auto-resolve this, I think. Is Ethring a custom settlement? Does anyone know? If it is a custom settlement, then I will actually fight it. But if it's not, if it's just a regular town with ballista towers, then I'm not, because we'll take horrendous losses at the hands of ballistae towers. Well, I mean, for like most the standard line infantry of the Ar-Adunaim, not including obviously the conscripted units, would be the Rosadan footmen. Because Gondor infantry and Abruzani Nadu Tariq are a little bit more, a little bit higher tier. We will have effectively split Gondor's realm in half by doing this. Well, a lot of people are fairly knowledgeable about Dak in the live chat often, knowing about all of the various custom settlements, because this is an easy auto-resolve, this one. But ballista towers means that like we would get rinsed on the approach. Like it would not be worth fighting battles on ballista tower maps. For like if it were the last Gondorian settlement, I would probably fight it because it's like symbolic, but it's not. So I'll also resolve it. Yeah, clear victory. Took some losses, but not that many. Ethring conquered. Occupy it. Right, is there anything we can combine? No is the answer to that. A resounding no. Right. Ethring should be safe with that army there. It's not amazing, but it's not crap, and with Mordor right there, yeah. So I think we did the right thing. I don't mind Mordor taking Tarnost, even if it is a brilliant defensive position. Right, you are all alone, my friend, and that means it's time to die. Okay, so a Doomstack may spawn, but I think we've got enough nearby that we can actually deal with it now. We could also reinforce that army there. It's a captain stack if we do, but do we need... I don't think we need 2 generals in here, do we? No, we don't. So you're going to start moving down here. Like 5,000, so the last thing we're going to do is maybe build an economy building somewhere. Yeah, we'll do that. And I think that's pretty much all she wrote. We could have built something over here as well, I suppose, in Anulond, but that's rather by the by now, isn't it? Right, we were building a grand navy over here, weren't we? But we can't afford a grand navy at this point. And to be honest, I don't think these two units are going to be all that necessary anymore. So we shall stand them down. Okay. We'll save and see what happens now. So Seralond, Londgalan, and Sidith Iawa. Iawa? Yeah, probably something along those lines. But those are pretty much the only things left.
Yes.
Wonder if we can get amiable relations with Angmar. They, of all people, should probably be on side for what we want to do. Come on, Bree. Maybe if I had enough money I could bypass my apparently terrible reputation. But, no matter. Let's see what happens. We'll pass the turn and then we'll probably leave the stream there. But I think experiment successful. I think this can be the sort of thing which carries on in the future. Or at least the option for evening streaming is actually open. The network doesn't implode in the way that I thought it perhaps would. A single unit? You insult me, Enidwaith. You could have joined me. We could have been brothers in arms against Mordor, but instead look what you've done to me. Narratively, we'll just have to say that our GIMILKHAD was suckered in the same way that our Pharazôn was, I suppose. Into Sauron's wicked ways. Poor Gondor, though. Ethering's revenge. Ethering falls. The fields and woods are wrapped in flame. The walls have crumbled and the merchant bridge has been taken. The heartlands of Gondor lay open, and it falls to the men of the Ringlo Vale, to muster a force to stand against the invaders and keep the heartlands secure. The men on the fields have been called, the merchant militia gathered, the garrison reassembled, and the clansmen mustered. Battle will be met, and the fate of the heart of Gondor will be decided. And that it will next time, because next time, as the Lebanon falls, the renowned city of Pelagia has at last succumbed to a greater power. The defenders put up a valiant defence of the walls, and many citizens fled by ship out past the mouths of the Anduin, but the day was lost. The bravery of the sailors was for naught, and now their ships lie burnt or drowned. The harbour walls stop little but the fish from swarming the city now, and the sea laps over the bodies of the dead in a cruel gesture of mockery. Washing away the blood, weapons and arrows, Pelagia's once mighty lighthouse has crumbled to dust as an embodiment of the city's fortunes. The loss of Gondor's main port will no doubt have a significant effect on the fate of the nation and the fate of the free peoples. So I guess they did still hold Pelagia, which is interesting, but Mordor have it now. And Tarnost is not long for this world either. So where is that? Oh, there it is. Okay. That's not, again, merchant militia, I think not. That's a pretty decent little army, that. Yeah, there's some Lebanon Marines, but most of it Gondor spearmen. And to be fair, like, this is probably the last significant army of Gondor. What is this? Right, well, anyway. We'll deal with that next time. We'll leave the entire turn open for me to decide what to do. And, yeah, so, a pretty successful stream, I would say. And at least it has, this is like an option for me now. At least I know now that it actually works, which is nice. And yeah, I think we'll consider this. I mean, it's something that I can do perhaps on the fly, considering the fact that you know, my schedule is a little bit fluid now that university has like started up again, albeit it is a stuttering thing. And yeah, so tomorrow there will be a channel update detailing more about that, and sort of wrapped up in that video is the reason why I decided to try this out and see how it went. So keep an eye out for that, because tomorrow there won't be the regular stream, because that was effectively this. But there will be a channel update video, which is just useful for keeping tabs on what my schedule is going to be. So if that interests you, feel free to give that a watch. As far as another stream goes, it should be regular time on Thursday, I would say. Sort of the regular afternoon GMT stream on Thursday should be going ahead as is the usual. And following on from that, of course, the regular weekend pre-recorded videos will also come out as usual as well. So yeah, that's the schedule for the days to come, and the schedule for the months to come will also be outlined in the channel update video that will come out tomorrow. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this spontaneous stream. Hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you'll join me for whatever is next.